Have you ever felt the sting of being ignored? A silence that weighs on you, heavy and consuming, leaving you to wonder, why don't they see me? Or how could they disregard my existence so easily? Being ignored cuts deep. It stirs a well of emotions and insecurities that lie hidden within. But there is a lesson here, a hidden truth about human nature, if we are only willing to look. What if this pain, this feeling of invisibility, is not simply a source of suffering, but an invitation? A quiet whisper calling us to awaken to something far greater than our fleeting emotions. In the philosophy of Stoicism, we find the wisdom to transcend these destructive feelings, to rise above our initial reactions, and to see the world and ourselves with fresh eyes. Epictetus once said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." So let's discover how we can face the pain of being ignored, not with despair, but with fortitude. Number 1. The power of our reactions. To understand why being ignored stirs such powerful emotions, we need to look inward. The Stoics taught that external events are not inherently good or bad. It is our reaction to them that shapes our experience. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." In other words, being ignored only has the power to hurt us if we allow it to do so. Imagine this. You reach out to someone, a friend, a loved one, a colleague, and you receive nothing in return. That silence echoes, and your mind races to fill it with meaning. Did I do something wrong? Am I not worthy of their attention? But this reaction is a product of our conditioning, a response we have learned, not an inherent truth. The Stoics teach us that we must reclaim the power we unknowingly give to others, and recognize that their response or lack thereof says more about them than it does about us. As Epictetus taught, it is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them. When we experience the sting of being ignored, we have two choices: to react impulsively, allowing emotions to take control, or to respond with clarity and wisdom, knowing that we alone govern our internal state. The first path leads us down a spiral of insecurity, the second to a place of freedom and self-mastery. Number 2, the search for validation and endless chase. Why does being ignored hurt us so deeply? Often, it's because we attach our sense of worth to the way others perceive and respond to us. The Stoics would say that this is a trap, a snare that will keep us eternally dependent on forces outside of our control. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." The same can be said of validation. When we seek our worth in the eyes of others, we make ourselves poor, forever grasping at something beyond our reach. Imagine standing on the edge of a vast open field, chasing shadows that flee from your grasp. No matter how fast you run, you cannot catch them, for they are not real. So too is our need for external validation, an illusion that leaves us exhausted, empty, and at the mercy of others' whims. When we seek affirmation outside ourselves, we become enslaved to it, bending and contorting to earn approval that may never come. But there is a way out. The Stoics teach us to turn inward, to cultivate a sense of worth that is immune to the fleeting opinions of others, to understand that we are not defined by the praise we receive or the silence we endure. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Let this be our guiding light, to build an inner foundation so strong that no silence, no rejection can shake us. Number 3, embracing solitude as strength. There is a common fear associated with being ignored, that we are alone, unseen, disconnected from those around us. But the Stoics' solitude not as something to fear, but as a powerful opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Epictetus advises us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. When we are ignored, we are given a rare gift, time to reflect, to strip away the noise of others' judgments, and to hear our own voice clearly. Think about it. When was the last time you sat with yourself, fully present, not seeking anyone's approval, not yearning for validation? To be alone is to confront the raw essence of who we are, to face our thoughts without distraction. It is here, in solitude, that we cultivate a profound strength, one that does not rely on the recognition of others, but is rooted firmly in self-respect. The Stoics believed that we carry within us a fortress of calm and resilience, an inner citadel that no outside force can breach. Marcus Aurelius called this the citadel of the soul, a place of refuge where we can retreat, no matter how turbulent the world becomes. In solitude, we learn to build this fortress, brick by brick, until we stand tall and unshakable, even in the face of silence. Number 4. Reframing the pain of being ignored as a path to growth. Pain is inevitable. Suffering, the Stoics would say, is a choice. When we feel the pang of being ignored, it's a signal, a message from within, pointing us to something deeper. Epictetus taught, difficulties are things that show a person what they are. Instead of succumbing to feelings of rejection, we can choose to see this experience as a challenge, a test of our resilience and strength. Each time we are ignored, we are given a chance to practice detachment, to rise above our emotional impulses, and to choose our response with intention. This does not mean we become cold or indifferent, but that we cultivate an inner peace that remains unshaken by others' actions. We learn to observe our emotions without letting them dictate our worth or disturb our peace. The Stoic path is not about eliminating emotions, but about mastering them. Just as a skilled sailor learns to navigate rough waters, we too can learn to navigate the storms of rejection and isolation. When we feel the sting of being ignored, we can remind ourselves that this is an opportunity to grow, to strengthen our inner citadel, and to deepen our understanding of ourselves. Number 5. Shifting focus to what we control. The essence of Stoic philosophy lies in one simple yet profound truth. Focus only on what you can control. Being ignored lies beyond our control, just as the weather or the opinions of others do. But what remains firmly within our grasp is our reaction, our thoughts, and our perspective. Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Instead of ruminating on the silence of others, the Stoic shifts their focus inward, asking, how can I use this moment to become stronger? This shift is not easy. It requires courage, discipline, and a willingness to let go of the need for validation. But when we make this shift, we reclaim our power. We are no longer victims of others' actions, but masters of our own fate. Imagine a vast ocean, turbulent on the surface but calm in its depths. The Stoic is like this ocean, undisturbed by surface waves, anchored in a place of inner calm. When we stop fighting for control over what lies beyond us, we discover a freedom that is rare and powerful. We become centered, grounded, and unshaken by the actions of others. Number 6. Building inner resilience, the Stoic's path to freedom. At the heart of Stoicism is the pursuit of freedom. Not the freedom to do as we please, but the freedom to remain unshaken by external events. Seneca wrote, no man is free who is a slave to the flesh. This freedom is internal, a state of mind that remains steady regardless of what happens outside us. When we are ignored, we are invited to exercise this freedom, to practice resilience, and to fortify our inner world. The Stoic approach to resilience is one of endurance, patience, and perspective. Each silence, each moment of rejection is a stone in the foundation of our strength. It teaches us that we do not need others to validate our worth. Our value is intrinsic, unchanging, and absolute. We are not defined by the recognition we receive, but by the character we cultivate. Number 7. Transforming pain into power, the alchemy of the Stoic mind. In the crucible of being ignored, a powerful transformation is possible. Where we may have once felt rejected, Stoicism offers us a way to convert that pain into strength. Epictetus reminds us, he who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at. This wisdom isn't about trivializing our experience, but learning to transcend it. Rather than succumbing to hurt or resentment, the Stoic mind sees rejection as a mirror, reflecting where we may still be vulnerable, where our sense of self needs to be fortified. To transform pain into power, we must ask ourselves hard questions. Why does this silence bother me? What does it reveal about my needs, my insecurities, or my attachments? This is not an easy process. It takes courage to face our emotional landscape without looking away. But in this confrontation, we uncover a new strength, a depth we didn't know existed within us. In reframing the pain of being ignored, we cultivate a kind of inner alchemy, a way of converting the heavy emotions that weigh us down into a lightness of being that sets us free. Marcus Aurelius observed, the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The silence that once stung becomes a stepping stone, a challenge that deepens our resilience. Number 8. The art of letting go, freedom from the need for validation. At the core of Stoic wisdom is the art of letting go, not as a form of giving up, but as an act of liberation. When we feel ignored, the instinct is often to chase, to seek acknowledgement, to cling to the idea that validation from others is essential to our worth. But the Stoic path teaches us that true freedom lies in releasing this need altogether. Think of it as loosening a rope that has bound us. The rope is our attachment to how others perceive us, a rope we can cut only by cultivating our own sense of self-worth. As Marcus Aurelius advised, receive without pride, let go without attachment. The Stoic learns to let go, not out of bitterness or resentment, but from a place of profound inner strength. This act of release is liberating. It frees us to pursue what we value, to act according to our principles, and to live in a way that aligns with our deepest truths. When we let go of the need for others' validation, we open ourselves up to a world of inner peace. No longer burdened by the weight of others' opinions, we become free to live authentically, guided not by external approval, but by the quiet strength within. Number 9. Reclaiming our peace, the Stoic's path to inner calm. Peace is not a place we reach by running. It's a state we cultivate by standing still within ourselves. In the midst of feeling ignored, a Stoic's first priority is to return to this state of inner calm, to reconnect with the serenity that exists independently of external circumstances. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And bravery, in the Stoic sense, means daring to face life as it is without needing others to complete us. To cultivate this peace, we must practice what the Stoics called apatheia. Not apathy in the modern sense, but a state of equanimity. Apatheia is the ability to experience life's highs and lows without being swept away by them, to remain anchored and stable no matter the storm. When ignored, we practice apatheia by reframing our thoughts, detaching from the need to react emotionally, and finding comfort within ourselves. Imagine sitting by a still lake on a quiet morning. The world around you is chaotic. The waves outside ripple and crash, yet the lake remains calm, a mirror reflecting only its own beauty. We too have the power to cultivate such stillness. By centering ourselves, by returning to the peace that lies within, we reclaim a power that no silence, no rejection can ever take from us. Number 10. The gift of self-knowledge, seeing ourselves clearly. One of the most profound teachings of Stoicism is the invitation to truly know oneself. When ignored, we are given a rare opportunity to step back, to see ourselves in a new light. Marcus Aurelius once observed, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This retreat within allows us to understand ourselves deeply, to confront our desires, fears, and insecurities. Often when ignored, we are forced to ask, who am I, truly? Am I defined by how others treat me, or is there something more? This is the gift of self-knowledge, a mirror held up by silence, forcing us to see ourselves clearly. Instead of reacting with anger or sorrow, we can choose to view these moments as teachers, guiding us to discover the depths of our own resilience. As we gain self-knowledge, we become aware of our values, our strengths, and our weaknesses. We learn to trust in our own worth, independent of external validation. The silence that once felt like an enemy becomes a guide, leading us to a place of clarity and insight. Number 11. Rising above emotional attachment, the Stoics' path to emotional freedom. Emotional attachment is a powerful force, binding us to people, outcomes, and expectations. But Stoicism teaches us that freedom comes when we rise above these attachments, when we learn to love without clinging, to care without controlling. Epictetus said, when someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. When someone ignores us, it is often because we have placed too much of our happiness in their hands. We have allowed ourselves to become attached, expecting them to fulfill needs that can only be met within. This attachment is a chain that binds us, a chain we must break to find true freedom. By practicing detachment, the Stoic frees themselves from the emotional highs and lows that come from clinging to others' attention or approval. Detachment is not about withdrawing or caring less, but about holding space for others without losing ourselves in the process. This way, we can love without fear, engage without desperation, and release without regret. Number 12. Turning pain into purpose, the Stoics' journey of growth. In Stoicism, there is a concept known as amor fati, or love of fate. It is the idea that we should embrace everything that happens to us, good or bad, as essential to our journey. When ignored, instead of dwelling in self-pity or anger, We can choose to see this experience as part of our growth, as a necessary lesson that shapes us into stronger, wiser individuals. The Stoic does not resent life's challenges. They welcome them as opportunities to test their resilience, to prove their strength. When ignored, we can ask ourselves, how can I use this pain to grow? What can I learn from this experience? This is the essence of amor fati, to accept life's trials not as obstacles, but as stepping stones on the path to self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." By embracing the experience of being ignored, by turning our pain into purpose, we transform adversity into a source of strength. Choosing our response. Number 13, choosing our response. The power of Stoic agency. In the end, the most profound freedom we possess is the freedom to choose our response. No matter what happens to us, we retain the power to decide how we will react. This is the ultimate teaching of Stoicism, that our happiness, our peace, and our fulfillment are not determined by external circumstances, but by our own choices. When ignored, we may be tempted to respond with bitterness, anger, or despair. But the Stoic chooses a different path, a path of wisdom and strength. As Epictetus reminds us, you are not your body and hairstyle, but your capacity for choosing well. This capacity, this freedom to choose, is what gives us the power to transcend our pain and reclaim our peace. We can choose to let go, to forgive, to move forward with grace. We can choose to respond not with weakness, but with courage. And in making this choice, we take back the power that was always ours. The power to shape our destiny, to live according to our highest values, and to find peace within ourselves. Being ignored is a universal experience, one that leaves many feeling diminished and unseen. But through the lens of Stoicism, we discover that this experience does not define us. It is a passing shadow, an opportunity to grow stronger, to build resilience, and to cultivate an inner peace that remains unshaken. In the quiet of being ignored, we are given a chance to hear our own voice, to rediscover our worth, and to reclaim our strength. We learn to let go of the need for validation, to find peace within, and to rise above our emotions with wisdom and grace. So let us take this silence, this solitude, and turn it into something powerful. Let us embrace the teachings of the Stoics and transform our pain into strength, our vulnerability into wisdom, and our need for others' approval into a deep, abiding sense of self-worth. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." Let us look within. Let us find that strength, and let us live a life grounded in the wisdom of the Stoics, unmoved, unbroken, and free. What are your views on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I will personally read all of your comments. And if you seriously want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Stay strong. Until next time.